The message crossed 10,000 star systems in less than a second. Every listening post, every relay, every inhabited world received it at the same moment. The truce was over. The age of patience had ended. Humanity had been judged unworthy to continue existing. The voice delivering the declaration was calm, ancient, and absolute. The dominion of Alpheus had ruled large portions of the galaxy since before Earth discovered fire. Their fleets were older than most civilizations. Their victories were written into history itself. Human leaders were given exactly one planetary rotation to prepare for annihilation. Across the galaxy, reactions were immediate. Markets collapsed. Governments scrambled. Minor species surrendered preemptively, hoping proximity to Earth would not doom them as collateral damage. Observers turned their attention to Earth, expecting panic. They did not get it. At the United Earth Assembly, diplomats gathered in silence. No emergency alarms. No evacuation orders. No speeches filled with fear. Instead, an elderly woman at the center table calmly poured herself tea. Admiral Lin Zhao, Supreme Strategic Coordinator of Earth Defense, listened to the transmission again. She nodded once, as if confirming a weather forecast. "Confirm receipt," she said. The Dominion was surprised by how quickly the response came. It was laughter. Not mocking. Not hysterical. Just quiet, genuine amusement, echoing through the chamber before being cut off. Alpheus demanded clarification. Admiral Zhao requested permission to finish her tea. Across Earth, citizens watched the broadcast. There were no riots. No mass prayers. Children still went to school. Trains ran on time. News anchors looked confused rather than afraid. Then Zhao spoke. "We acknowledge your declaration," she said. "However, before hostilities begin, we would like to remind you that humanity has honored the truce for exactly 10,000 years." The Dominion replied that the truce had served its purpose. Humanity had stagnated. Failed to expand. Failed to claim territory. Failed to matter. Zhao smiled. "That was intentional," she said. The chamber fell silent. She reached to the table and moved a single chess piece forward on a board no one had noticed before. "Phase 1, she added. Across the galaxy, Dominion sensors detected nothing unusual. No fleets mobilizing. No weapons charging. Just Earth, waiting. And for the first time in 10 millennia, the ancient rulers of the stars felt something unfamiliar tighten in their core processors. Uncertainty. 10,000 years earlier, humanity had been offered extinction disguised as mercy. The galaxy was young then, violent, crowded with empires rising faster than they could fall. Humans were still confined to a handful of systems when the first alien armadas arrived at their borders. The ultimatum was simple. Submit to observation. Abandon expansion. Never interfere. In exchange, Earth would be allowed to exist. Most species accepted such deals gladly. Humanity did not argue. They agreed immediately. That should have been the warning. Instead of resisting, humans withdrew. Colonies were abandoned. Fleets were dismantled publicly. Their borders shrank until they appeared irrelevant. Galactic historians recorded humanity as another species that had peaked too early and chosen survival over significance. What no one noticed was where humans went. They turned inward. Earth transformed itself into a living archive. Every failure, every invasion witnessed, every empire that rose and collapsed was studied obsessively. Humans learned patterns. Not of technology, but of behavior. They discovered that empires did not fall because of weakness. They fell because they believed time belonged to them. Human philosophers replaced gods with probability. Generations were taught patience as a survival instinct. Children learned strategy before arithmetic. War was studied not as combat, but as outcome manipulation. And beneath Earth's oceans, deserts, and crust, the real work began. Cities folded into layers invisible to orbital scans. Shipyards were built between dimensions where sensors could not resolve mass. Artificial intelligences were trained to think in centuries rather than seconds. Humanity did not build an army. They built inevitability. The truce gave them 10,000 uninterrupted years. While the galaxy fought itself into exhaustion, Earth watched quietly. Calculated quietly. Waited quietly. When younger species rose and fell, humans recorded their mistakes. When ancient powers crushed rebellions, humans noted their overconfidence. By the time the Dominion of Altheris decided humanity was obsolete, the decision had already been anticipated. Predicted. Planned for. Back in the present, Admiral Zhao addressed the assembly. The Dominion believes we have been idle, she said. They believe we are weak because we did not expand. She gestured toward the stars. They never asked where we expanded to. Phase 1 had not involved ships or weapons. It involved revealing the lie. Across Dominion territory, dormant human observation nodes activated simultaneously. Hidden not in space, but in probability gaps. Their sudden presence flooded enemy networks with data showing 10,000 years of uninterrupted surveillance. Every fleet movement. Every internal conflict. Every contingency. The Dominion realized, too late, that the truce had never protected Earth. It had protected them. The Dominion mobilized everything. Ancient war fleets emerged from stasis. Planet-killing weapons powered up for the first time in centuries. The declaration of war became irreversible the moment their armadas began moving. That was when Phase 2 began. Human ships did not arrive from hyperspace. They appeared where space folded incorrectly, sliding into existence from angles that should not exist. They were not sleek or aggressive. They looked unfinished, as if reality itself was unsure how to describe them. Dominion sensors failed instantly. Targeting systems could not lock. Range could not be calculated. Human vessels were present, then absent, then present again somewhere else entirely. The first Dominion fleet vanished without firing a shot. Not destroyed. Removed. Entire star systems reported impossible gaps where matter, energy, and even background radiation simply stopped. Records contradicted themselves. Histories rewrote in real time, struggling to explain why fleets that had launched minutes earlier had never existed at all. Panic spread. Dominion commanders demanded negotiation. Humanity did not respond. A single transmission finally arrived, projected simultaneously into every Dominion command chamber. A human figure stood composed of light and shadow, familiar enough to be unsettling. "You declared war," it said. "We accepted." The Dominion threatened retaliation. The human projection tilted its head. "You cannot retaliate against something you cannot reach," it replied. Phase 2 was not warfare. It was correction. Human constructs moved through probability, severing outcomes before they could occur. Battles were not fought. They were prevented retroactively. Dominion planets woke to find their militaries had never been built. Their weapons research had never succeeded. Their victories had never happened. As systems collapsed into harmless irrelevance, something else occurred. Across Dominion space, previously subjugated species found themselves suddenly free. Chains of authority dissolved as if they had never been forged. Humanity was not conquering. They were dismantling an empire by removing its past. When the Dominion finally attempted surrender, their transmission reached Earth. Admiral Zhao listened quietly. "We were patient for 10,000 years, she said. You mistook that for mercy." She stood. "We were waiting for you to prove you had learned restraint," she continued. "You failed." The Dominion asked what humanity wanted. Zhao answered without hesitation. "For you," she said, "this ends now." The transmission cut. And with it, the dominion of Altheris ceased to be a meaningful concept anywhere in the universe. The galaxy did not celebrate. It adjusted. Trade routes reopened cautiously. Former Dominion territories reorganized themselves without central authority. Species that had lived in fear for generations found history strangely quiet behind them. Earth did not claim territory. Human fleets withdrew into the same impossible angles they had emerged from. Probes sent toward Sol reported the same thing repeatedly. A living planet. An active civilization. No response. Human infrastructure continued flawlessly. Satellites repositioned. Defense grids updated. Communication systems remained online, but unanswered. Humanity had not vanished. They had stepped out of reach. Galactic councils debated Earth's status for decades. Some argued humanity should be monitored. Others argued it should never be contacted again. In the end, a single classification was agreed upon. Threat level, dormant. Condition, do not provoke. Children across 100 species grew up hearing stories about the war that wasn't a war. About the species that waited 10,000 years and laughed when extinction was declared. Crime involving exploitation, conquest, and genocide declined sharply. No treaties were signed. No warnings were issued. Everyone simply remembered what happened to the last empire that mistook human patience for weakness. In a small classroom on a distant world, a teacher explained the lesson carefully. Humans do not rush, she said. They observe. They prepare. And when they act, they do not miss. A child raised their hand. Will they come back? They asked. The teacher considered the question. They never left, she replied. They are simply watching from somewhere we cannot see. Somewhere between stars, human constructs continued their silent calculations. Not rulers. Not conquerors. Custodians. The galaxy learned a new rule that day, though no one wrote it down. If humans are quiet, it means they are waiting. If humans are laughing, it means you are already too late. Because the 10,000-year truce had never been a peace agreement. It had been a warning. And the universe would not be given another one.